Diana, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast and in with the Revitalized Womanhood audience and coming into us from Costa Rica. I told her to get outside so we could hear all of the beautiful, wonderful nature.
It's cicada season. It's crazy.
Yes.
There was a guest here at the hotel, and he said, "You know, I'm really upset. I came here for peace and quiet, and he goes, I keep hearing this machinery," and we're like, "What machinery? There's no machinery." And then he's like,
Isn't that funny?
"To that buzzing," and I'm like, "That's nature, baby. That's called
That's
cicadas."
nature. We were in Bali. Same thing happened. We were in Bali and and I said to my husband, they must be doing construction on the other side of this wall because that construction is so loud. And we walked out and he's like, there's no construction. I'm like, listen. And he's like, that says cicadas, babe. And I'm like, holy crap. It does. It sounds like machinery.
Yeah,
It's wild.
but it's actually white noise to me. It's so
It is.
chill that it's
Yeah.
kind of easy. I feel like I'm surrounded by this big warm blankets. Well,
Once he said what it was, I was like all about it. I was like, that is so cool. That is so cool that nature can be so abundant like that in a season,
yeah.
just, and it's like rumbles in your chest. And if you appreciate the vibration of it, it's like you could really get down with that. I love it. So I appreciate it.
The cricket in our garage, I can't find him, and he chirps all night long. And
That might be different.
well, I'm like, dude, I can't find him. I mean, he must be this thick, but his voice is so loud. And he's just, I guess it's mating season for the bugs, the insects, the frogs. So the frogs are making noise. And then all of a sudden, 5 o'clock in the morning, the birds come to the window and they see their reflection because of the sunshine.
Oh,
And
cool.
they fight.
Oh, no.
They're aggressive and they're like pecking. I swear they're like to break the glass one day. But it's like
Oh, my gosh.
5 a.m., time to wake up.
Yep. There you go. That's your rooster. You've got the roosters too,
kidding.
but that's your rooster right now. We were in South Africa and these birds kept flying into the glass doors of the chalets. And I think that's what was happening was they were seeing their reflection, but they kept coming into the doors. And one of them was actually broken. It didn't happen while we were there, but I was like, I hope that's not from a bird.
That Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Birds. You're like, ah,
Yes.
ah.
Yeah. Well, welcome. I am so excited to have you on here. I went through your introduction already so that you didn't have to sit and listen to it because it is long, girl. The list is long. You have done it. So many things, amazing things in your short life. And I was just telling her, she looks amazing. Diana, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, she looks younger than me. And that is really makes me just think, Tina, you're doing something wrong. You need to change, do better because you look amazing.
Well, thank you, but I don't think I look younger than you. I just think that I'm a little more tan right now. And
Yes.
I got my genie hairdo on, which makes me look like I'm 12.
I cannot wait to get there. I can't wait to get all of that beautiful. I come from sunshine. We're in southern Utah, so it's like 75 here today, and it's going to be gorgeous. But we've been in winter, so it's time. So anyway, we are literally talking about the weather, and I want to talk about so many things for you, and I respect your time, and you've got a hard stop. So let's just get into it. Just tell my listeners a little bit about yourself first.
Well, to get to where I am and why I'm even important here is because I am every woman. I mean, I've gone through the ups and downs. I've been married. I was married for 27 years. I have 3 children. I actually was pregnant 8 times, lost many along the way through mostly through ectopic pregnancies, which doctors didn't know what that was. And it turns out that over time, I learned that my body was it was kind of dying from the inside out, and I didn't know why. So by the time I was 34, I already had my 3 children. I'd gone through 3 in vitros. I've had 3 ectopics, and my digestion was shot. So I blew up 100 pounds through medications. They gave me Vioxx for my shoulder pain. Every ailment I had, I went to the doctor to get it fixed, and woke up one morning and saw this just full lineup of pills that I had to take. Lavoxyl for my thyroid. And I ended up having a bleeding ulcer. And it took me to the hospital. I had these 3 little children at home. And my husband at the time traveled so much, so I was always by myself. And I thought, oh my God, I went to the hospital. I didn't know it was a bleeding ulcer, but I went in and I was throwing up blood. And the doctors gave me morphine. And the first shot was like, wow. it was good because the pain was there, right? And they came back to me and I said, "What's wrong with me? Like, what's going on?" And they said, "Well, blah 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 blah." Another shot of morphine. And I will never forget laying there. I could see angels, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not coming back. I'm gonna die." And it really scared me. I went home the next that night. By the way, woke up with this massive hangover from the morphine, and ended up, somehow had to get my kids to school. Had to get them because I can't take care of them at this point. And my sister texted me, and she had had a cyst in her ovary that was the size of a grapefruit, and so she had to get it surgically removed. It was literally this big, and she said, "I went on this body ecology diet for 2 weeks, and by the time they operated, it was the size of a walnut." So I had this massive aha moment where I need to take a really good look at my life, my atmosphere, everything that I'm doing, and make a change because something's not right. I'm not a junk food junkie. I don't eat fast food. I exercise every day. Something's not right. So it turns out some people are more sensitive than others. Obviously, I'm extremely sensitive to my chagrin. Uh, I was affected by the environment. I was affected by people. I was affected by food. I was affected by any alcohol, coffee, any the toxins in the alcohol products that I put on my face. Every single thing was just one layer on top of. Then I had in vitro, and then I got Vioxx, and then I had Lavoxyl, and then I had. So I was just a mess. I was literally
Right.
dying from the inside out. And so I switched my whole life and I said, okay, I read the body ecology diet. I read Dr. Campbell about meat and everything and kind of laid it out. And next thing you know, I'm covered in books, my best friends. I would sleep with them. I had books of every kind. And I realized I needed to eliminate 6 major things: no dairy, no wheat, no sugar, no meat, no caffeine, and no alcohol. And for 10 days, I did that, dropped 10 pounds really fast from inflammation and started on this journey of kind of figuring out how to eat. Now I'm a trained French chef. Ended up going to raw food school and all these things because of all this. And so people ask me because I would do talks around how people like, how'd you heal yourself? How'd you lose 100 pounds? And so I started doing talks, started at Whole Foods, and then they started hiring me everywhere. And I said I just wanted to feel good in my body naked. And someone said, "How can I get naked fast? How can I feel that thing fast?" And so I wrote my first book, Get Naked Fast,
Yeah.
stripping away the foods that weigh you down. And it's not a no, you can't have any of those 6 things. It's knowing the no's, knowing what causes the inflammation. And if you look at your diet, you would notice that that's primarily what we eat. We have coffee in the morning, then we have a piece of toast, and then we have some eggs, and then we have some. So where's all the fresh fruits and vegetables? Where's all the raw foods that actually keep the engine moving? Anyway, since I was pre-med in my previous life, before I turned into all this other stuff, I kind of put it all together. And so I continued writing recipe books that were really about healing the body. And then one day, I opened this retreat center because not only was I a spirit coach, a life coach, a food coach, a raw food chef, a chef, my list goes.
Yeah, it does.
And I was like a Kundalini teacher, a fitness instructor. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to open this place and create a retreat that's like 365 days a year, 24/7. So you get the retreat experience, which is whatever you need for yourself is available. And it was a labor of love. And here we are 10 years later and number 6 in the world. So it kind of started one
Incredible.
way, and it started small, and now we're up to 28 rooms. I've got 3 pools, 3 restaurants. I mean, but it started small. I didn't just like go out the gate and go, I'm going to build this massive thing. I started from,
Right.
like boots on the ground. My hands were dirty. I built everything with my bare hands. I dug the holes in the dirt and planted the trees and the vegetables. And um, that's kind of how you, in my opinion, how you get to where you want to be. And then you
It
start
is,
living.
and you said some beautiful things in there that I had all of these questions for you because you are an expert in so many of these things that I'm actually unfamiliar in because I'm the opposite. I am like, wake up, have my coffee. I had 2 glazed donuts with my coffee today. Now, again, ladies, I'm breastfeeding.
Really?
So
I love
like I'm burning 1,500 calories a day and all I want is sugar. And I'm like, have to be very mindful about getting in the fresh fruits to curb those cravings, or getting in the agave or something, the honey, so that I can curb those cravings. But otherwise, I'm like Cheetos, donuts, and it's horrible. So I am not, but I am becoming more aware of those kind of things, especially as I'm getting older, especially as I'm finding out that I do have problems with like digesting and breaking things down, like we all do. And so, but I love that you said you're the every woman. When you started this, you were the every woman. And that just speaks to me, because along with all of these incredible things you've done, I want to get into the more, I do want to get into the more specific details about those, like I said, but I really want to set our tone and our intention that the underlying of all of this was you had to face each pivot and find the courage to say
Yeah.
yes to the universe so
Yeah.
many different times, right?
Yeah.
Because you had to say to Western medicine, no, I've got to stop. You've only gotten me this far and it's been bad. I mean, other than your beautiful babies, but now my body is saying no, no more. So I have to figure out a different way, or else you're going to go off a cliff somewhere, right? And then with being a French chef, and then being with writing your book and opening the retreat, like so many things you said. Yes, I love that you started with I'm the every woman, because I want my listeners to hear that just because they are at home raising babies does not mean that there's not more out there for them.
Yeah.
If there is something heavy on their heart, to do it, to do it. And I want you to talk to us about like what that looked like in your journey.
I felt stuck. There was times, I mean, I can tell you that, I'm going to be 60 next week, and I feel more beautiful than I've ever felt in my life. I could show you pictures and you'd be like, "Damn, girl, what did you change?" I changed my outlook on life. I changed and made happiness a priority. I changed and made me a priority. I mean, but I'm 60. It's taken me that long. It's not like I haven't gone on some long ass journey to get here. And, there was a time when I was 100 pounds overweight. There was a time when my skin was falling. There was a time, I feel like pivot was the best word. I'm probably a master pivoter now. If I find something's not working for me, then I pivot. And people will say, "Oh, well, you're just so lucky because no, I wasn't. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. That's not how it worked. Every choice I made was a choice that led me to here. And yes, some were very fortunate and some weren't. I've made some huge mistakes, some very costly mistakes, some mistakes that have scared me and possibly almost lost me my life. So it's not like it's been easy, but my attitude is I make it look easy. My
Yeah.
attitude is don't let it get you down. It's you can only my mom used to say something when I was younger and I didn't really get it. And she said, "Listen, I am depressed, but I allow myself a half hour a day to wallow in my pity, and then I put my big girl pants on and I go about my day." And somehow that really stuck with me. Because a lot of people spend 23 of the 24 hours a day wallowing in their pity,
Yeah.
or telling the universe all the reasons that they can't do what they want to do, or listening to the vibration of the collective, which is really, whatever's going on in the world, we hear it and it does affect us. You watch the news, you listen to podcasts, you watch Instagram, you TikToks, whatever, you become part of it. And
Right.
trends are actually built by the collective thought process, which actually embeds in your cellular structure and then becomes who you are and your belief systems. Like I actually took a picture of myself in a bathing suit the other day, and it was more of wonderment. Like, I think I'm 30 years old. I don't ever think that my skin is going to age. Now, granted, it has, and this might be just a great angle or something, because believe me, I got babies and all that. But I got this angle, and I was like, I never in a million years thought that my arm wasn't going to be down to here when I was 60. And it's not like I'm at the gym every day. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just it's what you believe becomes who you are.
Yeah.
So someone said, here's another great quote. Why can't we grow another limb like lizards can? If someone chopped off my limb, why can't I grow another limb? Because I don't believe I can.
Oh.
But if I believed I can, could I? We don't
Right.
know. So now, as I'm turning 60, and this has been a pivotal time because I've never really thought about the numbers because I'm really in my brain, I'm 30 forever. But this one was kind of a tough one. It's like, okay, I'm turning 60. So what I'm telling the universe is that how do I want the next 60 years of my life to look?
Yeah.
How do I want the next 60 years? I just already told the universe that I'm at minimum going to be to 120. And that doesn't mean a bad, sad 120. That means I'm going to thrive in the next 60 years of my life. And I believe it. I really do. I believe it. If I've managed to get here, this skin's 60, this hair's 60, my feet, my legs, everything is, my muscles are 60, my organs are 60. I've got 60 years left. How am I going to take care of that? And
Wow.
so then I start thinking that way, and then it becomes.
Well, I was listening to, you were on an episode with your girlfriend like over a year ago, and you said something that I wrote down, and you said, the more good we put into our bodies, the less room we have for the bad. And I loved it, obviously. I wrote it down because it's true in anything. Like you said, it's true in physical, it's true in mental, it's true in spiritual. Anything.
Yeah.
If we put the good in, there's no room left for anything else. We only have 100%. That's full. And you can't put more.
Glass of water, right? We're 75, 80% water. So
Right.
you feel if this is bad, even up to here, I only have a little room for good. But if
Right.
this is all good, then I only have a little room for bad. Well, what happens if you fill it up and it's all bad? When you start spilling over, that last drop is when you have disease, when you have health issues, when you have
Yeah.
depression, because you've got so much bad inside of you that you have no room for good. So what happens if this is all good?
Yeah.
It's just the complete opposite. Most people are looking at their lives and they're like, I'm right here with the bad. And they can't figure out how to get rid of it. You start putting the good in. Don't even worry about the bad. I have to stop doing this. I have to stop doing that. I got to start doing this. I got to. No, no, no. Just add some good every single day. A little bit of
Yeah.
good. I love myself. I'm amazing. Whoosh. The spiral starts going up. You're like, I am one with nature. I only nourish myself with healthy foods. You start eating them. And then all of a sudden, this bad stuff disappears, and the good takes over.
Right. And it's so interesting when you start doing it, you don't notice it anymore when you've done it for so long. Just like anything, consistency is key. And when you've done it for so long, you don't even notice you're doing it. But what happens is you notice when other people
Oh
are
yeah.
affecting you. You notice when, because
So
it used to be you had bad, like you're saying, it's spilling over. So what is that spilling over onto? If you're a
yeah.
mom, it's spilling over onto your kids. If you're a wife, it's spilling over into your relationship. If you have friends, it's spilling over, right? You don't even notice it. But once it's this good thing and it's so powerful, you start to feel it. You start to notice it from other people. We had
Well,
this discussion the other night in our community with this.
I'll take it one step farther so that people can have an image of what it is, metaphysically speaking, in your body.
Yeah.
So we all have auric fields, right? And we actually have 3 layers of aura. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we have our aura, which is about 2 inches, 2 to 4 inches outside of our body. You have Reiki masters, pranic healers. When they touch here, they can feel the waves in your aura. They can feel where disease is forming, where the outer auras have affected you, and where you're about 6 months away if they can feel it from disease, from
Mm.
issues. Okay. So then you have your second aura, which is 2 to 4 feet, maybe sometimes bigger, outside of your body. And that's when you're sitting next to someone and you can feel you're like, it's either draws you in or
Right.
pushes you away, right? Because the auric field is not matching your frequency, right? And then
Yeah.
there's the bigger aura, your third aura, and then it's like when you're at a cocktail party and someone walks in the room, and all heads turn. That's like queen energy. That's like celebrity energy. That's like their auric field is so large that it literally permeates the entire room. Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's good, positive auric field and you're around it, then you will thrive as well. But if you put yourself next to miserable, unhappy, troubled, diseased
Yeah.
people, you're going to absorb that into your auric field, and it's going to come in from the outside in till it hits here, your first aura, and then you're 6 months away from disease, misery, depression, whatever it is. And so you have to protect yourself by the people you surround yourself by.
That's perfect imagery. I didn't realize, I didn't know, I'm not familiar with all the names and all that, but I understand it. I understand it. I've seen it happen. I've felt it. I've been involved in it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to have it put to names. So with that, since we're talking about high energy and high frequencies, tell me about, let's get to some of these specifics since you are the expert. I don't want to waste my time with you. I want to know, what are high vibration foods? That just kicked me into that gear of thinking about, okay, so we've got high vibration energy people. Let's talk about high vibration energy foods. And what is that all about?
Well, think of every live thing has life force energy. We have life force energy. Animals have life force energy. Plants have life force energy. Okay?
Right.
So you want to eat animals and plants, but you want to make sure that, and this is where it gets difficult. This is why meat is on the no list. Know the no's. If the meat was put through a cattle mill and
Oh, right.
they were depressed and sad, that energy, when you eat it, is going to go inside your body. So having pasture raised, slaughtered, normally eating meat is not bad. And actually, sorry, killing animals is not bad for food, but only for food, not for game, not for fun, not for just playing around, trophy on the wall. The only reason to kill animals, and my boyfriend grew up in the jungle, and he said, you only kill an animal if you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's survival. And so making sure that we get good quality meats in our body. Well, also plants. How long has it been sitting out? How was it harvested? Was it sprayed? Was it so those two things are really important. And hopefully in our world, things are changing, and we're going to be a little bit more cognizant of that moving forward with, some regulations that are going to be changed. And I don't want to get into the whole Maha thing, but it speaks my language.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Especially if you've ever been out of the country and you've eaten, even going to McDonald's in Europe, it's completely different than going to McDonald's in America. Instead of French fries, even though their French fries are cooked better than ours, you can have a whole salad that's sourced from a local farm.
Yeah.
Every McDonald's in Europe.
Be done. It's they've somehow have convinced us that big corporations and big Monsantos and they've somehow convinced us that that's the only way we're going to get food supply, that we're going to have a shortage of food supply. It's not true. It's not true. It's a way to confine everything and to make us eat things that aren't good for us. So, ideally, grow some herbs in your garden. Even if you can't get good, have some herbs, life force energy. Make your own tea. Just snip your mint and put it in your tea, and put some fresh bee honey from the locals. There's so many things you can do. Again, I don't want to create any dogmatic approach to eating, because there's a few things that what's very close to our heart, what we like to eat.
Yeah.
That is really important. You don't like to mess with anybody. I would never tell you to stop coffee. I would never tell you to take away a glazed donut. I'd say eat that glazed donut, and then follow it with a green juice, or have the green juice first and have your glazed donut. Because after a while, that green juice that you're having before your glazed donut is going to make your glazed donut taste like chemicals to you.
Yeah, I'm not going to want it.
But I'm not going to tell you to do it. Your body's going to tell you to do it.
That's what my husband's going through right now, and he has been, because he's on a calorie deficit trying to lose, but he only eats meat which we harvest ourselves. So we have fresh elk, fresh deer, we only eat meat, halibut, salmon, all meat in our home is harvested ourselves. Right. So it's so lean and so good, but he talks about this all the time, how it almost makes you depressed when you think about the fact that all you get to eat is a scoop of elk burger for lunch, and maybe dress it up with some sauces or something. But he says it really does. It truly does make you depressed.
He won't have a long-term weight loss if he's not happy.
And that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Because
Try-
what happens when you break? You binge, you go crazy. You're like, forget it. I'm going to do whatever I want to do.
So my girlfriend, whenever she's going through a breakup or something, she gets really skinny, and she calls it her miserable weight.
Mm,
And yet, how many people have fallen in love and lost tons of weight? So, take a look at that. How,
right.
and how much emotion plays on your weight.
That gets into so two questions there, and I'll come back to the one, but the one is the mindful eating. You're giving us some practical tips. You started down that road because mindful eating, I want the practical every day, and you said that. It's like have an herb garden. Put those things in. Start having your green juice before you have your donut and let your body decide these things. What are other ways of creating mindful eating daily practices
Well,
for people like me?
yeah. So, um, if you could get half of your food in a day fresh, you're so far advanced. So you get up in the morning. Let's just say you have coffee and you have orange juice and toast, okay, or a donut. Fresh squeeze your orange juice.
Yeah.
Don't buy it in a box. There's nothing in there for you. It's just sugar water that's flavored. Okay, let's just be clear. Get fresh squeeze. I go to Whole Foods and they have their little machine, and it
Right.
just fresh squeeze it myself. So I have my fresh squeeze oranges. So now I've got my coffee. I got my fresh raw cream if you can get it, raw cream in my coffee, and then I've got my orange juice. I already had raw cream, which is good for me. I've got orange juice. All right, now I'm gonna have a green juice, and now I got my donut. I'm good.
Yeah.
Now I go to my lunch and I want a big pastrami and rye sandwich. Well, have a salad before and then have your pastrami and rye. I guarantee you're not going to get through that pastrami and rye if you have a salad first
Yeah.
because your body's going to be so satiated. But don't deprive yourself. Allow yourself to have it. Start putting the greens in. Then later on, you're thinking, I need a snack. You want to go for a Snicker bar. You want to go for whatever. Grab an apple. Grab an apple, drink tons of water, feel really good. Maybe instead of having your second coffee, maybe have some herbal tea or even green tea to ignite your metabolism so that you're kind of burning because you're looking for a little rush at the end of the
Right.
afternoon. And then dinner comes around and you do the same thing. You're like, okay, I'm gonna have a big glass of water when I get home from work or whatever I'm doing. And then I'm chopping some vegetables to make a nice taco tonight. Well, chop some carrots and munch on the carrots and the celery while you're making the taco. By the time you get to tacos, or I'm making some guacamole, have a few scoops of avocado in your mouth. Think about putting all that fresh. By the time you get to the taco, you probably won't have two or three. You
Yeah.
probably, which is one, because you've already filled yourself up with water, carrots, celery, and avocado. And so
So smart.
you can have whatever you want. Just make sure you preface it by all this good stuff so there's not enough room for the bad.
That's so smart. And it's so easy. That's so simple. That's so simplified. Instead of, I can't do this or I can't do this. And these are negative trigger words. I can't, I won't, I shouldn't.
Shouldn't. I
Replace
should
them
not.
with, I
No.
can, I will have this glass of water first. I will have my green juice. I can eat this avocado before, right?
Right.
Language and bringing in language and allowing yourself these things. I love that. That's so
Well,
cool.
get up in the
Well,
morning and squeeze a little lemon in your water. I always have a glass of water
I
by the
love lemon
yes.
in my water.
Then have that before you have your coffee. So you already
Yeah.
alkalized your body. So by the time the other stuff goes in, your body's already happy.
Yeah.
So you're creating, a balance, and you find your niche, find what you love. Not everybody likes, this or that, but I would say that's, I don't know anybody who doesn't like pastrami and rye or tacos, but hey, or glazed.
Hey, it's your thing. You want to
There.
be weird. No, well, so that brings me, so the lemon, that's a perfect segue because I started putting lemon in my water actually because I wanted to improve my gut. And it also, ladies, makes it so your kids stop drinking out of your water. Just a little side note there.
Yeah, like ooh, yeah.
Like, get out of my water. But so this brings me to your truth bars because I am so excited to, wanted to have them here before we recorded, but I couldn't. But I'm so excited to try them. Tell me all about these truth bars.
Well, these were developed actually, gosh, almost 12 years ago now. way ahead of its time. It was a gut health bar. I was working with Embassy Universal and another company to create a whole line of supplements. And the mindset at the time was protein, 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 protein bars, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. And I was like, well, yeah, but if you want people to lean out and to metabolize the protein, you need to work on the gut. And everybody's
Yeah.
like, but this is a protein bar, right? I'm like, no, it's not a protein bar. It's actually a gut health bar. So what does it have in it? Well, it has a lot of fiber, probiotics, and just the right amount of sugars to balance, because you do need sugars for cognitive balance, but you don't need a lot. We overeat them, um, and omegas, and it was just a perfect blend. Everybody loved them. They're like, oh my god, this bar is so fantastic. So over the course of the last 10 years, we've been building the brand, and they people have said their IBS symptoms have gone away, their leaky gut symptoms have gone away, they are no longer constipated, and so people eat them. And we've got followers like you can't imagine, who just have to have these bars every day. And in fact, we had to take after COVID. There was a sabbatical that we took for too long. Actually, it's getting hard to get back into the market, but people were like, I can't live without these. Why did you take them away? We're like, well, we're just trying to figure out how to survive. Sorry.
But you did. You touched on something that is important. And I'm sorry if this is too much information, folks. But after my third baby, which was a traumatic C-section, that my first two were not C-sections, and then this one, and then all of a sudden, that is like terrible for your guts. It's like your body's like, what is happening here? And you cannot do anything about it. And so it gets to the point where it's bad,
Yeah,
guys. So when you finally find the thing that helps with that, it's a lifestyle. And that is a perfect
exactly.
compare or analogy for anything you do in life. It's
Yep.
you won't do the hard until what you've been doing becomes so hurtful that the
Yes.
hard looks better.
Totally. You're right. I mean, those are your. I mean, I don't think people make change until there's massive adversity, and the universe is always knocking on your door. I mean,
Yeah.
people who get cancer, people who, whatever. I've seen people turn their entire life around because they're like, "Wow, that was a wake up call that I needed." And so, hopefully, we train ourselves not to trust what we should and should not, the shoulds and should nots, right? Don't trust
Yeah.
everybody is different. Everybody is different.
Yeah.
Literally everybody. And your body's constantly changing. What worked for you for the last 7 years may not work for you for the next 7 years.
Yeah.
So you're constantly testing your body to see how it reacts to things. Oh no, I don't eat that. I don't like that. Well, what if you ate that and your life turned around? What if you decided to start meditating because, and someone forced you to, I can never sit still and be quiet in my head. There's too much. Well, all of a sudden you did, and life got better. So we have to stop telling ourselves no, have an attitude change, and just allow whatever comes in to happen. You asked me about courage. I think
Yeah.
the only thing that I have courage to do is listen. And I listen to the cues, because once I hear the cues, without sounding too hokey pokey, but whatever, hocus pocus, when I hear the cues of the universe, nothing will stop me because
Yeah.
I know that I'm protected. I know that I'm supported. I know that whatever I do is going to happen, succeed, and I will be well. But when you feel that, you know it. And I know a lot of people who heard it and have turned their back away from it later on to go, I should have listened. I should
Yeah.
have.
How many times does that happen? More times than not. You say, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that? I should have done that. Or I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So many times. My husband says I have this
It-
ability to, yeah, we had 8 vacation rentals, and I had this ability when I would get a message that I could feel that this was going to be a bad guest. And I would say, no, listen, and he didn't listen to me for a few, but then he started realizing that I have this gift that I'm like, no, I can feel that this is going to be a bad thing. But even without, like you said, not to sound hokey pokey, whatever, but even that's mindset. That's if
Growth
you
mindset.
can, or not mindset, mindfulness. I'm sorry. mindfulness. If you can connect
What
to
road?
yourself and your world enough that you are mindful of listening to your body when it says slow down, or listening to your body when it says go faster, move more, or listening to anything, the cues, like you're saying, that's not hokey pokey. That's just being mindful. That's just being aware of what's going on in your life rather than just allowing life to just happen at you.
Well, and when you connect the trust from
Yeah.
what you're sensing and yourself, you actually, that is the greatest form of self-love,
Yeah.
because you are actually honoring your own connection to source. You are
Yeah.
actually believing in yourself. You're actually seeing yourself. And we are always looking for outside people to see us, to recognize us, to hear us, to know us. Like, well,
Right.
know yourself, know who you are, be in your space, and it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks of you. Like, you need to, and once you own this self-love image, the world is your oyster. Health will get better, happiness, money, sex, relationships, family, everything will start to fall in line if you start honoring yourself. And
100%. I 100% agree with you. And it's so funny too, because you worry so much about all these things, but once you do master, I mean, you never really master, but once you master it enough that you have ownership of that, you don't care about anybody else's opinion because you love yourself enough to know that whatever their opinion is a reflection of what they're going through. Has nothing to do with me.
it's
And
absolute.
it's such a circular thing that it's like, oh, if I would have just been doing this from the first, I wouldn't even have gone down the road of worrying about that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, I have this relationship coach. She always asks, "This is a great thing. Tell me something that like that you can't stand in somebody. Just tell me what is it that you can't stand, like over and over. Like, just I hate people who. Can you tell me something?
Me? Oh, yeah, I hate people who are negative.
Okay, so I'm gonna put the mirror on you.
Yeah,
You obviously can't stand when you're negative, and you are probably
100%.
and you are on it all the time. So it bothers you when you see your own self reflection in other people.
Yes. Yes.
I
That's interesting.
mine is laziness, and I'm not a lazy person, but I'm so worried that I'm going to be lazy.
You fight against it.
I can't. I never just sit on the couch without like there's no I go 24/7. So when I see lazy people, it's triggering because that's my thing.
Yeah.
So do the mirror. Ask, if you've got a friend and you just ask them, put your hand up and say, tell me what you hate about people. And then turn the mirror on them because that's what they hate about themselves.
That is so interesting. That's awesome. I love that. I'm going to use that in my community. I'm going to use that.
Good. Yay.
So here is a question because I think you have touched. I love where this conversation went, but I think I'm gonna get you with this one, and I can't wait to hear where it goes. In all that you've built, this beautiful journey that you've been on, what has been the most surprising? Even
Oh.
a change in yourself, even something. What has just made you stop and go, huh?
Lately,
Sure.
more than ever, I think I never looked up. I never looked up and looked at my accomplishments. I've been doing podcasts lately, and I was an influencer before there were influencers. I was on YouTube doing cooking shows and stuff. I never thought about what I was doing. I never
Yeah.
patted myself on the back when I won awards for my book or when I won awards for my hotel. I never think about it. I just keep going, keep going, keep going. But lately, I've taken a hard look at. I mean, I'm looking right now at my hotel. I'm like, I built this. It blows my mind. I'm like, how did I get here? Like, because I never stopped to look and smell the roses. Stop and smell
Yeah.
it. I just never did. And so now I'm kind of going, I made it. I made it. And
I love that.
I feel really confident. Last year was really pivotal for me. For some reason I went from having that imposter syndrome and never feeling like I deserved the accolades and this year I'm so confident. There's nobody who can knock me off my stoop now. There's,
Oh, I
I,
love that.
I don't care how wobbly it is, I am there. And
Yeah.
that feels different. It's different. It's interesting. It's very different, actually. I'm like,
I'm going to sit in this for a minute. I love that. I think that's incredible. And it happens, it can happen to anyone at any time, because I bet everybody else is seeing you and looking at you thinking, oh, like you said, she's lucky. I can't
oh
stand.
yeah.
There's my I hate people that say you're lucky, because especially when you are the one behind the scenes doing the things and working and having the discipline and struggling and pushing, and and then to have someone belittle it by saying it was luck or chance, it's like, I'm gonna punch
Do
you
you
in
want
the
to know?
face.
This is interesting. When I had I had three babies, twins
Mhm.
and a younger one, and I go to school and I'm just me. I'm just a, you can tell I got a youthful energy for a 60-year-old.
Yeah.
Imagine when I was 30. No, but
Yes.
they called me Willow sometimes because I was just like, "Ah." I'm almost 6 feet tall and generally, basically thinned out. And people would be like, oh, she's the rich, beautiful
Right.
girl. And I was like, okay, where are they getting that? And I'm like, because I'm suffering literally. I went up and down in my looks over the years. And I was like, Rich, they're like, yeah, aren't you a trust fund baby? And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not rich. So where's that coming from? And then I realized it's the way I've held myself.
Yeah.
I held myself as if nothing can, if you walk around like you're a pauper, people are going to see you as a pauper. I have friends that are billionaires and they look like they should belong in the street, you know? How you carry yourself and what you believe in is what will happen. And I did. I carried myself as if money was never an issue. My looks were not what made me whole. And people saw that. And but they pointed the finger at me. Oh, look at her. She's just rich and beautiful. She was born with a, silver spoon in her mouth. I'm like, actually, if I told you my story. So when I wrote my first book, and people in the neighborhood, in my peer group, all the children started to read it, they looked at me totally different because they never asked my story.
Yeah.
They never asked me, where'd you come from? What's your life like? They just put me in this category that I was rich and beautiful.
Yeah.
It was so
And
weird.
made you unapproachable. So they
Um,
made their own judgments, and
And
I
I
love,
was
I'm so,
offended. It's
sorry
actually
about that. Yeah.
I was
Well,
offended.
it's because how you're saying you were rich in your own way. You were rich. And so you felt that way. You felt it. So that's why you were able to carry yourself that way, is you were seeing the blessings. You had the gratitude. You
Yes.
had, even though, but it's so hard for some people, even like you say, millionaires, it's so hard for them to be so grateful and carry themselves that way, because maybe it did come too easily, or maybe they have so much that they don't see the beauty in.
They have a lot of guilt. The ones that
Yeah.
easy for have a lot of guilt, and they're going on their own journeys. It's actually interesting. There's a huge group of people who got rich very easily, very quick in the tech boom, that are going through a lot of self discovery and guilt. Like, this was too easy. How is this too easy? But their karma in this life isn't about money.
Mm.
It's a whole different karma. Some people think and everybody has a different karma. Some people have health issues. Some people have money
Yeah.
issues. People have mental issues. Everybody comes in with a whole set of issues.
Right. Yeah. And they're all relative. It's, you can't compare.
What?
You can't
You
compare
can't.
mine to yours. It's apples and oranges. So I'm so grateful for you joining me today. I want to wrap this up with going back to how I set my intention of this, with the undertone of always being able to face challenges with the attitude of, it's a pivot. It's a pivot.
Yep.
It's not failure. It's a pivot. So what words do you have for my listeners, for these women, these beautiful women going through life and maybe find themselves stuck?
So I always like to think of the image of pushing a rock uphill, a boulder uphill.
Right.
If you find any part of your life that you're pushing a boulder uphill, step aside, let the boulder flow, pick up a rock, and then go. Because sometimes we're carrying a load with us that's just not movable. And that's where the pivot is. Oh, this isn't my path. This isn't my road. This isn't my load. Because if it's meant to be, it'll be super easy. It will be super easy.
I love that. Yeah, it won't be a boulder if it's meant to
Will
be.
not be
If it's
bolder.
your
No.
true path. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting us sit in and be a little cicada on the wall in Costa Rica while we had this conversation. They weren't bad. They were beautiful. It was just beautiful background. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And it was such a pleasure to meet you, and enjoy the rest of your day and your trip.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Diana.